Every day is a fresh start. I find myself repeating this phrase, a mantra whispered into the ceramic curve of my coffee mug. It's a sentiment I'm clinging to, a lifeline in the turbulent waters of the last year. It has to be my motto, my North Star, for the foreseeable future, because the truth is, each morning feels like waking up to a battlefield of my own making. But life, as I'm learning the hard way, isn't just a numbers game. I have my health, a solid roof over my head, and a business that, thank God, still brings in a steady stream of income. So, in the grand scheme of things, I'm okay. But that doesn't numb the sting of losing a substantial amount of money, a sum that represented years of hard work and disciplined saving. Let's rewind to the beginning of this chaotic chapter. As you might have gleaned from my previous video, I had purchased a van, a symbol of freedom and adventure. But circumstances changed, and I sold it, finding myself with a respectable $75,000 in my bank account in March of this year, 2024. The world of cryptocurrency, a realm I had dabbled in before, began to beckon once more. Bitcoin had just blazed past its all-time high, cresting at an audacious $80,000 before settling into a more temperate zone around $70,000. It was this cooling-off period that piqued my interest, a seemingly opportune moment to re-enter the fray. My first foray into the crypto world, back in 2021, had been a baptism by fire. I had naively invested around $6,000 into an exchange called NovaX, which imploded in a spectacular fashion, declaring bankruptcy and taking a significant chunk of my investment with it. For the next couple of years, I received sporadic, piecemeal returns, a constant, painful reminder of my ill-timed entry at the market's peak and my choice of a volatile, unreliable platform. You would think I'd have learned my lesson about the perils of chasing quick profits and the importance of due diligence. But history, as they say, has a cruel way of repeating itself. This time I was determined not to make the same mistake. I wanted to avoid the giddy heights of a market peak, to be more strategic, more calculated. And yet I managed to do precisely what I had sworn to avoid. In my eagerness to capitalize on the burgeoning bull market, I plunged headfirst into the tumultuous world of altcoins, bypassing the relative stability of Bitcoin for a portfolio of more speculative assets. I was holding bags of Polkadot, Chainlink, and Cosmos, among others. These were not obscure, fly-by-night projects, but they were undeniably riskier than the established giants of the crypto world. When Bitcoin so much as sneezes, these altcoins catch a cold, a lesson I was about to learn in the most brutal way imaginable. From March to roughly September, the market was a bloodbath. Bitcoin, the bellwether of the crypto market, took a nosedive, plummeting to below $55,000. My carefully selected altcoins, in turn, were decimated, suffering losses of over 60%. My initial $75,000 investment had dwindled to a terrifying $30,000 by the time August rolled around. I was hemorrhaging money, and the psychological toll was immense. My life became a relentless cycle of checking charts, scrolling through crypto Twitter, now X, and consuming an endless stream of market analysis. I was obsessed, a prisoner to the flickering green and red candles on my screen. The fact that I had a cash-flowing business, a venture that had provided me with the very capital I was now so recklessly gambling away, became a double-edged sword. It afforded me the time to become completely consumed by the crypto world, to the detriment of my mental and emotional well-being. I was bewildered, watching my portfolio shrink with each passing day. What is happening? I would ask myself, a question that echoed in the lonely hours of the night. But deep down, I still held onto a sliver of hope, a conviction that the market would eventually rebound. And it did. The tide began to turn around the time of the presidential election, with the new administration's pro-crypto stance breathing life back into the market. But ironically, it was during this period of recovery that I began to make my most catastrophic mistakes. After 6 long months of watching my investment languish, my patience had worn thin. I was frustrated, resentful. I had envisioned a quick and easy path to financial freedom, a 6-month lease on my apartment serving as a timeline for turning my $75,000 into a down payment for a house, a cool $150,000 or even $200,000. It seemed so achievable in the euphoric world of crypto and stocks. I had even sold some of my Nvidia shares, a decision that haunted me as I watched the stock continue its meteoric rise. This sense of missed opportunity, of having chosen the wrong horse in the race, festered within me, breeding a toxic cocktail of impatience and greed. The deeper I ventured into the crypto rabbit hole, the more I was exposed to the siren song of meme coins and leverage trading. I started to dabble in leverage, experimenting with 3x and 4x positions, a notoriously risky strategy that can amplify both gains and losses. It's a high-stakes game, one that can make or break you in the blink of an eye. For the uninitiated, it's a surefire way to lose your shirt, and I in my hubris was about to learn that lesson the hard way. My most recent and most devastating failure came with my foray into the world of meme coins. I decided to take a gamble, to skim $15,000 off the top of my recovering portfolio, which was now showing a modest profit, and dive into the chaotic, unpredictable world of meme coin trading. I set up a phantom wallet, a gateway to the Solana ecosystem, and became a permanent fixture on Dex Screener, a platform that tracks the dizzying rise and fall of these highly speculative tokens. For those of you who are deep in the crypto world, you'll know the allure of these platforms, the promise of astronomical gains, the thrill of the chase. I started by selling off my holdings of Polkadot and Chainlink, converting them into Solana and taking losses on those positions in the process. My rationale was simple. I would make back my losses and then some in the fast-paced, high-reward world of meme coins. But as I soon discovered, the meme coin market is a minefield, a place where fortunes can be made in hours and lost in seconds. The volatility of altcoins pales in comparison to the sheer unpredictability of meme coins, where the risk of a rug pull, a scam where developers abandon a project and run off with investors' funds, is a constant threat. I found myself pouring more and more money into my phantom wallet, chasing the elusive 10x or 20x returns that I saw being flaunted on social media. My initial $15,000 investment soon ballooned as I sold off more of my core holdings, desperate to recoup my earlier losses. My portfolio, which had clawed its way back to around $60,000, was now on a terrifying downward spiral. In a matter of weeks, I watched it plummet to a heart-stopping $18,000. The stress was unbearable. I was having panic attacks, my anxiety levels were through the roof. I was a slave to the charts, my life dictated by the volatile fluctuations of my digital assets. Sleep became a luxury I could no longer afford. I was up at all hours, scouring X for the next big meme coin, my health deteriorating with each passing day. Then a glimmer of hope. I stumbled upon a coin inspired by a popular internet meme, a Kendrick Lamar song that had gone viral. Let's call it Mustard. The coin was on a tier, and I, in a moment of desperation, went all in, and it paid off. I rode the wave, and my $18,000 miraculously transformed into $55,000. I was ecstatic, euphoric. I had clawed my way back from the brink. This is it, I thought. I've made it back. But the story doesn't end there. In a moment of clarity that now feels like a cruel joke, I had a conversation with myself, a moment of introspection where I should have walked away. During this time, in September, I had received another large payment from my business, an additional $15,000 that I, in my infinite wisdom, also threw into the crypto furnace. At my peak, I had around $80,000 in my portfolio. If I can just get back to $75,000, I told myself, I'll cash out, put it back into my safer altcoins, and ride out the rest of this bull market. The bull market was in full swing, and my initial impatience now seemed utterly foolish. But greed is a powerful, insidious force. I made a fatal decision. I'll keep $40,000 in Solana, I reasoned. It's a solid coin, it will hold its value, and I'll let the remaining $15,000 ride on this mustard coin. But the meme's popularity began to wane, and the coin's value started to plummet. In a moment of sheer, unadulterated stupidity, I made the worst decision of my life. I decided to go all in on a new, highly speculative coin, a project with a tiny $3 million market cap that had just launched 2 days prior. I took my entire $40,000 in Solana and threw it into this digital lottery ticket. I went to bed that night, a knot of anxiety twisting in my stomach. The next morning, I woke up to a scene of carnage. My investment had been decimated, reduced to a meager $15,000. A few hours later, it was down to $7,000. By the end of the day, it was a paltry $3,000. The reality of my situation hit me like a physical blow. There was no coming back from this. I wasn't going to turn $3,000 back into $75,000. It was over. The last few weeks have been a painful exercise in self-reflection and damage control. I've had to lick my wounds to confront the devastating consequences of my actions. And to make matters worse, the bull run that I had so impatiently waited for has finally arrived. Bitcoin has shattered all previous records, and the altcoins that I had so foolishly sold are now experiencing astronomical gains of 100%, 200%, even 300%. The irony is almost too much to bear. The very coin that I had held for 6 long months, the one I sold just a day before it skyrocketed by 70%, is a constant, mocking reminder of what could have been. It's a bitter pill to swallow, to know that if I had just been patient, if I had just let my initial investment sit, it would now be worth well over $120,000. That would have been my down payment for a house, the realization of a dream that now feels impossibly distant. But this experience, as painful as it has been a powerful, if expensive, lesson. I had become obsessed, my life consumed by the pursuit of wealth. I had neglected my business, the very thing that had given me the freedom to pursue this risky venture in the first place. I wasn't creating, I wasn't building, I was just gambling, trying to multiply my money in a digital casino. Cryptocurrency, in and of itself, is not good or bad. It's a tool, a technology with the potential to revolutionize the financial world. But it's also a double-edged sword, one that can change your life for the better or for the worse with terrifying speed. It offers a potential escape from the traditional money matrix of a 9-to-5 job, but it demands a level of discipline and emotional control that I clearly lacked. The psychological toll of such extreme volatility can be immense, leading to anxiety, depression, and even addiction. My experience with the constant monitoring of prices and the emotional highs and lows is a classic symptom of what some experts are now calling crypto addiction. This time around, I got in at a mid-range, experienced a downturn that I now understand is a common occurrence driven by FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and then made a series of disastrous decisions based on greed and impatience. Next cycle, and there will be a next cycle for me, I'll be armed with the hard-won wisdom of my mistakes. I'll be dollar-cost averaging into Bitcoin during the bear market lows, and I'll be riding it out with the patience of a seasoned investor. I'm still a firm believer in the long-term potential of crypto and Bitcoin, but I've learned that chasing massive, risky returns is a fool's errand. A 2x or 3x return in a year is an incredible achievement in any traditional market, but the crypto world has a way of warping your perspective, of making you greedy for more. My mom and brother, whom I had encouraged to invest a small amount of their savings back in May, are a testament to the power of a long-term, hands-off approach. They've simply let their investments sit, focusing on their own lives, and are now enjoying a healthy return on their initial investment. I, on the other hand, let crypto become my entire life, and I paid the price. So here I am, sharing my story, my raw, unvarnished truth. I wanted to create the kind of video that I wish I had seen when I was in the depths of my despair, a video that talks about the losses, the failures, the dark side of the crypto dream. Because for every story of overnight millionaires, there are countless others like mine, stories of people who lost it all. I hope that by sharing my experience, I can offer some solace, some perspective to anyone who might be going through a similar ordeal. I'm still standing. I still have my cash-flowing Amazon business, a venture that I built from the ground up, one that has generated over 6 figures in revenue for the past 2 years. That's my focus now, to get back to creating, to building something tangible, something real. I need to ground myself to find my footing again. I may be living a bit more paycheck to paycheck for a while, and the dream of buying a house has been deferred, but I'm young, only 26 years old. I have time to rebuild, to learn, to grow. I'm out here in North Carolina trying to figure out my next move. I miss the sunshine and the familiar comfort of Florida, but who knows what the future holds. I have a wonderful girlfriend, a loving dog, and the air in my lungs. I've had health scares in the past, so I know not to take my well-being for granted. To be able to sit here, healthy and alive, and share my story with you is a blessing. Life is a series of lessons, and this has been a particularly harsh one. but I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the clarity it has brought me, for the renewed sense of purpose it has instilled in me. It still stings to see Bitcoin soaring past $120,000, to know that I was so close to realizing my dreams. But I'm learning to let go of the what-ifs, to focus on the what now. This experience has taught me the importance of patience, of humility, and of not letting greed cloud my judgment. So, thank you for listening, for being a part of this journey with me. I'll be back with more authentic, unfiltered stories from my life. Subscribe for more real talk, more raw honesty, more of the messy, beautiful, unpredictable journey that is life. Cheers, and have a good one.